we want to welcome Peter, my partner, to the panel because today I think this is the Peter idea. Peter have this idea for a long time. At first we think that we're going to do this event at the pier, at the Yamu pier down there with the villager, right? Peter.
Yes, so that was the idea, was that to get a group of people together to talk about the things that are concerning them here in Phuket, how life has changed, particularly in the last 12 to 15 months. But try and tap into the fact that people, how the community in Phuket has developed. When we first came here 20 years ago, we were the first foreigners really to come out to this side of the island to live. And it's been interesting to see how that's developed with the village and how it's changed their economics, and the number of speedboats and tourist boats that are now going out of Yamu here has been an interesting dynamic.
Yes, and I am very new commerce here. I just been here in the area since Valentine. 2 years ago. Before I've been on and off to Phuket during the COVID time, so I have been. It was amazing and it's very good time. In fact I really have a very good time last year during the COVID times, because I cannot travel anywhere, and I think Phuket, Thailand. I wonder that Thailand have a very nice location with wonderful activities. So I just learning how to dive, and I just got the license in January.
That's right.
I just got the license in January, diving license. I just got 7 dive, and then I just learned that I love to be in the sea all the time. So I have been on the boat every week since December, so that I have been spending a lot of money on the charter. Spending a lot of money, and because only the oil for the only for the oil diesel for the boat is very expensive. So I think today objective is not about me talking about something. I just want to learn from the people that we invite today, and then we record, and then we post on the YouTube, and then we hope that our discussion today can have some kind of ignite to the community, and people might want to learn more about how wonderful Phuket is, and especially for Thai people like myself, because I think Thai people have been undervalued of what they have. They don't come to Phuket. They always fly to somewhere else, and they think that Phuket is belong to the foreigners. And yet, and today I feel that way, because I mean, among the foreigners I don't see. So tell me that it's not true. Please, everybody, please help clarify that point, that it's not true to me.
I think it's been really interesting, and it was really interesting to me 2 or 3 weeks ago when the people from Phuket were saying, from Bangkok were saying how much they thought that Phuket was not for Thai people, and that if they had a weekend away, they would rather fly to Japan, and that they saw that as a cheaper option. And I thought that was astounding. And talking to Thai people over the past 12 months, people who've been coming to visit here, often for the first time, or people who've come back after 20 or 30 years, I think they've really discovered how beautiful Phuket is. And I think the fact the ocean has been a major part of that. So when I've been out diving on dive trips, we might be the only foreigners diving. Throughout this high season, we'd be the only foreigners really diving, and that the dive boats that we're surrounded by are full of people from Bangkok who are down for weekends or for longer stays. And the ocean is benefiting from that. The fact there's fewer people there. So I think it's great that Thai people having a chance to re-explore that. And we've seen for ourselves that the nature's coming back in play. Whether it's I've just seen pictures of an otter on Nakanoi Island, which was amazing. But we had dolphins in this bay here in Yamu. We've seen whale sharks at the bottom of Rang Noi. It's been amazing, you know, to see how the ocean is coming back without all the speedboats. And so I really hope that as tourism comes back here into Phuket, that it develops in a way that, you know, is sustainable and takes account of the fact that you know, we need to balance what we've got and what we want with what nature needs. And it'll be interesting because a couple of people here, obviously in the commercial development of their businesses, you know how they see that balance with commercial necessity versus, you know, making sure that we maintain the product that we have.
Okay, I think we should start sharing. I mean, our guest should start sharing from now. I think I want to start with Kun Karen because Darren, right? No, you need to share first because you are the one who go far long distance from here. And I have been discussing about your story because I think that I have been learned a lot. I just go to. I'm not sure that I think this part should be cut out because it make me doesn't look good because I just have the shark fin at the during. You should be can censor it.
You shouldn't eat shark fin.
Yes, I should not eat shark fin. So I pledge my word to camera and to YouTube that I will not eat shark fin. From today, I will not eat shark fin from today, and think our friend here have a reason why. I think Kun Darren, can you share why I should not eat shark fin? I think I'm not sure, but I already ate it. Can you come to the panel with and here?
The issue is my shark fin talk goes for about an hour.
Because shark fin tastes good, but Kun Darren just teach me that shark fin doesn't have any taste. Okay, can you be a moderator, please?
I'm not good with microphones. Blow them down. Shouldn't have brought that topic up with me.
No, I think it's very good. I think it's really important because I think
the issue with killing sharks and shark fin. Sharks are 400 million years old. The current shape and form of sharks that we have now are 100 million years old. So the sharks that we see now are 100 million years old. In short, we have extinct, or we will extinct, a lot of our sharks in our lifetime, in our generation. So in one lifetime, in one generation of people, we are going to wipe off the face of the earth something that's been here for 400 million years, but in its current shape and form for 100 million years. So these guys got along, they swim out here for 100 million years, and in a generation of lifetime, we're going to wipe them off the face of the earth. It is absolutely disgusting. Sharks. There's about 500 species of sharks. 400 of them don't have recognisable teeth. Their danger to humans is zero, in the sense that they don't eat humans, they don't like the taste of humans. They are very, very timid creatures, and they get a bad rap from one movie in particular, but a lot of movies in particular. Some of the sharks that we see here are some of the most docile sharks that we see in the world. So we get whale sharks here, we get leopard sharks here, we get bamboo sharks, guitar sharks. We do get some bull sharks. We've just started to get some tiger sharks around. Tiger sharks come up as some of the most feared sharks that people get. If you want to talk to Ash over there, Ash will tell you how cool it is to swim within a metre of a 5-6 metre tiger shark. They pose no threat to people under the water. Most the injuries and fatalities that happen with tiger sharks, or with sharks in general, a bit of mistaken identity. The shark's job is to clean up sick and dying animals in the sea. Generally, the people that get bitten most are surfers and on the surface, and the surfer on the surface looks like an injured seal, looks like an injured turtle. So often you will see survival rates of people bitten by sharks as reasonably high, in the sense that the shark has taken a bite and they've realised it's not their food and they'll spit it back out. And that's why you see so many people actually survive from shark attacks. If they were really serious about eating people, they would do so and you wouldn't find anything left from that person. We were just talking about before with the show that's on TV now, on Netflix now, that describes the importance of sharks to the entire marine system, whereas the sharks will control the amount of fish that we have in the sea. If we lose all the sharks, it comes down to the second predator, which eats the next predator and so on, and we'll destroy our oceans if we kill all our sharks. If you watch the TV show, there's not much we can do at the moment, but there's small steps that we can take in relation to looking after sharks, not eating shark fin soup, not eating any shark products, but it is a massive issue that we've got in the world at the moment, and overfishing. We destroy the oceans, we destroy the planet, and don't eat shark fin soup.
How do the diving? I mean, I just want curious to be there. I just, you can ask this question for me. Just curious, if I go diving, that also destroy environment shark.
I think part of this, Darren,
people going diving.
if there's too many people going diving, I think Darren can talk to the fact that if you have sharks available as part of a diving experience, then you will attract more divers who will pay more in economic terms than is earned from the shark fin product.
So in a study that I read, they were talking about sharks in the US, particularly coming out of the Caribbean. They were selling shark meat at about $5 a kilogram, but what they worked out that each shark alive was worth about $250,000 in ecotourism. So the more sharks we have, the more people we will attract in relation to see those sharks. So you look at Donsol in the Philippines, was a fishing village. They were fishing a whole lot of things. Now they make more money on whale shark tourism than what they did on fishing. So, like was said before, we're starting to get a lot of creatures into Phuket that we haven't seen in 20 years. So we had the turtles that we were talking about. We've got tiger sharks that have been getting around the Similan Islands. We had a whale shark come into Carter Beach, about 100 metres off Carter Beach. We had minke whale, no, what were they called? They weren't minke whales. So like minke whales come right into Shillong Bay. It's awesome to get those creatures in, but my fear is that once tourism goes back to at the levels that it went back to 2019 or 18 and 17 going back, that we will destroy that anyway. And we're caught between a really difficult line between looking after nature and what's the word for it? Tourism as well. So there's people in this place. Everyone that's here now basically is relying on tourism. We need tourism to support our industry, but the tourism is what's killing our coral and our marine life, and it's a very difficult balance between keeping these creatures that we want to keep and going back to our normal tourism that we had before.
Yeah, there was a very interesting BBC article about how Maya Bay is recovering during the course of this, but how long it took for anybody to react to that. And then yet if you go down to Maya Bay now, on the other side of the bay, they're building like a landing platform, presumably to allow tourists to get and walk across the island to get back into the bay. So sort of protect the coral, destroy it on the other side.
The really interesting thing that I found about Maya Bay was they actually closed it to allow the coral to regrow. If you remember the really bad DiCaprio movie that made that bay famous, there was sharks in that bay, and that bay itself was home to the black tip reef sharks. Obviously, once the movie was made, everyone wanted to go there. The black tip reef sharks remained in the area, but they came outside the bay and they used to swim up the two walls, Malong Wall and Pelong Wall. So that, I don't know when that movie dates back to, that dated back to 97 or 98, around that time, is when we had that tourism exposure with people wanting to go to that bay and see it. So we're looking at about 20 plus years where those sharks couldn't get back into their home because of our tourism. There was video footage 1 week after they closed that bay off, one single week after they closed that bay off, and with 50 plus sharks in that bay. Those sharks, as soon as the tourism stopped, the sharks went back to their rightful home. And this is an example of what tourism does to marine life, is that we don't realise the effect that it's having on the marine life, and we're all trying to make our dollar out of doing what we do over here. But in actual fact, those sharks went straight back home. And a lot of those sharks weren't even born when that whole thing started, but they found their way back to where they should be. And that's what good comes out of looking after the marine life or looking after the whole underwater life. But there's so many stories around the world where they've stopped people going to places and the marine life and the coral's grown back to what it is. We got a dive site in called Ratcha Islands to the south of Phuket. There's a couple of bays there that are very popular for boating tours, mass boating tours, I would say. And the coral is growing back slower than where it is growing back any other part of Phuket. I'm sure that everyone here has heard about reef safe sunscreen and stuff like that. I've got my own little theory that if you start putting thousands and thousands of people a day into a small bay, that it's going to have a detrimental effect on the coral and the marine life there, and that's what happens. And the real key for Phuket is to start to control the amount of tourism that goes into places. That affects my business as well as everyone else's business, but it's the best thing for the environment. But also too, you look at places like Issabella in Malaysia, where they only let 140 divers in a day. We could do a very similar thing to PP. I think Koh Yaonoi and PP is one of the best dive sites we have in Thailand. And controlling the number of tourists that go in there, we can create something good, but what we can also do is we can charge more for what we do, and rather than having masses of tourists go in on a budget scale, paying their 500 baht to go jump in with some fish. So we do need some action, but whether it happens or not is another thing.
I think you're really right about the numbers and the economics, because most of the people who can afford to dive could actually afford to pay for the pleasure of what they're doing. And whilst you don't want to be exclusive, you don't want to be exclusatory, and only the privileged are allowed to do things. I think it's really important to get that balance, and how do you do that except by limiting the number of drivers? Maybe a bit like St Andrew's Golf Course, you can have a ballot, so that you can get in on a certain level on a ballot, and so that the diving's open to everybody to some extent, but that the other people are paying to sustain it, so that it's.
Well, they have Issabella has a ballot. Basically, at Issabella, you book 3 days diving, and you'll get 1 day at the main Issabella dive site. You don't even question what it costs you. It's not it's sort of like it's the privilege of going there. But the other thing too is we do need to be mindful that there's a lot of people with established businesses that have invested money into their businesses, and that's the really difficult thing in Thailand, is that people have invested in a business, and it's a hard thing to cut something back. But you either need to relocate people and encourage people to dive in or snorkel in other places, but it's a tough balance. It would take a lot of work. Sadly, I think we've missed a very good opportunity to do it. It should have been something that we started at the start of COVID, when we knew people weren't going to come for a long time. But I think with COVID, we had a perfect opportunity to sit down, have some meaningful discussions about where we're going to let people in and where we're not going to let people in, put those in place, and then regulate them once tourism, or if tourism does start up again at some stage.
Do you feel that with so many people working in the field, and was rich pickings here for a long time, that actually now, as it's become harder, the only differential is really competing on price, and so therefore sort of people have a race to the bottom, and that encourages more people to come in. But everybody actually might be better off if they had fewer divers within their groups. I mean, you've obviously looked at the numbers every day on how to run your business and what's the best way to run it.
Price is an issue. You get me started on a completely different path if we start on that. But we need to be mindful. I'm trying to be politically correct, which is really difficult.
You can't do it.
I know what I want to say, but I can't say it with the camera running. If you wait till the camera turns off, I'm quite happy to go on about it. But we do have a lot of people coming to Phuket, We have a lot of people that are less sensitive about the environment and nature, and we have a lot of people that are profiting from a lot of people coming here. And that mass of people will affect our environment. Our environment here, I mean, anyone that dives here now will know that the coral's pretty stuffed here. It has been for quite a while. That had to do with the natural phenomenon in about 2010. It had nothing to do with fishing or tourism or all the things that were blamed for it. It was just one of those things in life. But the regrowth and the repopulation of those sites are directly influenced by the amount of people that we bring into the dive sites, or not even calling them dive sites, but the shallow water sites that are popular to everyone. And like I said, I think we really missed a golden opportunity last year to reassess what we were doing in relation to scuba diving and boating tours, and we could have put limitations in place to regulate the number of people that come in to those sites, or even more so, all those that know the Ratcha Islands will know that most of those congregate in a certain area, and if we limited the number of boats in each bay, we could probably maybe sustain it a little bit better that way.
Thank you very much, Darren. I hope we haven't missed the opportunity. I still think that we're not going to suddenly bounce back from here. I think we've got another year or 2 years before tourism really becomes. And from a personal perspective, I really hope we can find that right balance between creating an economically sustainable Phuket and one that retains the natural beauty that attracts us all here in the first place.
It'd be a real shame. I mean, my business is based on tourism, and I come to something like that tonight, and we get to eat. We're doing it pretty tough in the scuba diving industry, and if you're a lover of nature and you're a lover of the sea, you look at what's coming back now, and you want that to stay, and then you're going to balance it up with your tourism and making money and stuff like that. And it's an incredibly difficult balance to have. No one's saying it's easy, but it is really something that Phuket should get on top of, should get together, and should. I mean, this place, if we got the marine life back, I mean, old timers that have been here for a long time will tell you 20 years ago we had whale sharks in Patong Bay. You're lucky to go fishing in Patong Bay now, and give it long enough, we would have that sort of stuff like that, and it's a tough thing.
Thank you very much, Darren. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you. You have question about what? We will. You can networking after. You can ask him personally. Because the main objective, I try to close the, semi-formal session. I want to close the semi-formal session by 6:30, and we have an informal kind of networking, because I think we have a very distinguished guest coming today. The next topic I would like to discuss is about becoming curious about yachting, because last year I spent a lot of money doing yachting. Really, a lot. I do a lot of fuel consumption. You know, because last year when I'm here, and then Peter said we should buy the yacht, and then from there we spend a lot of time. Can you really hear me on the noise? It's good because the rain noise is become very noisy, and I become, you know, I'm afraid of the rain because when one day I went to the Koh Yaonoi, and then on the way back I met the storm like that. We went by the small speedboat, and then we stuck in the thunderstorm like that for about an hour. So I'm not sure which one of you, because we have a lot of yachting guy coming today. So I'm not sure which one of you would like to share first. So I think I become noisy. The weather in Phuket. Can you hear me clearly? Because I cannot hear my voice. It's just the cannot hear the camera because anyway you can. I would like to invite Nico again, because Nico is the one who have. I moved to this place together because it's just because Yacht Sourcing is the company that have a lot of my money last year. I have been top money consumption company in last year, so I think I would like you should we continue having a yacht, or we should stop having yacht and then sell yacht and then rent from someone else? This is my question. Should I keep yacht and then the price going to go up, or I should rather sell my yacht to someone else?
Private jet now.
Go to and buy private jet. Okay, could Nico, can you answer? And could Peter, anyone else who have this kind of business can share, because I start to thinking about going to Issabella yacht. So that Issabella yacht. Okay, starting from tomorrow.
We can. We try to avoid plastic on board. We try to limit as well the fuel consumption from the boat. And we train as well, we explain our guests as well to make sure to not leave plastic on the beach, to not use as well, to not throw the cigarettes as well on the beach. So this is how we can help a little bit on our side. As everybody knows, the yachts are big fuel consumers, so it's kind of a small balance. We are trying that way to not pollute too much. Well, this is what we are doing on our side. Maybe Fred, our partner and sales director, will develop as well. He's much better talker than me.
What is responsible yachting in computer term? Responsible yachting meaning what? Because I think on your yacht it doesn't use because plastic bottle.
Yes, we try to limit.
We don't use plastic bottle. We use only
Recycle. We have as well the straws. We avoid the plastic straws.
And we consume a lot of beer and wine. Consume too much. And also diesel.
Save the water.
And also we consume a lot of diesel. Is there any way to, you know, when we, I just curious, I'm not sure that to better like this question, but when we, when we going on the water yacht, it kind of can be smelly at the,
For the fuel?
for the, I mean, we consume a lot of fuel. Last month when I drive my car, I consume only 1,000 baht. 1,000 baht of fuel.
30 minutes on the boat.
Okay, and your yacht consume 60,000 baht.
It's not my yacht, it's your yacht.
Consume a lot of diesel. How can we be responsible?
You can buy your sailing boat as well. We have sailing yacht.
How can we save
Maybe what is important is the speed of the boat as well. You can limit the speed of the boat, and so you can reach a cruising speed which is economical in terms of fuel, and maybe as well the generator for the aircon as well. You can turn it off as well. Don't let it turn 24/7 all the time. When you are maybe on the dinghy, when you go on the beach, maybe you can just turn it off, and it will save a little bit as well.
I have question to I ask this question to the yacht operator because this is not my be the question that they want to answer. I asked this question to them because when I found out that when I use the cell, the cost of the rental is a lot cheaper than the motor yacht and but I never really use able to use the sailing because it's not go anywhere, just for show.
Yes, it's a different different way of yachting as well. The sailing is a very different way.
Okay, you have anything? You want to share this? Yeah, because I can ask the stupid question because I don't know anything about yours.
I'm sorry to step in.
Not sorry, we want sharing.
It's not for show. The sailing is you use the wind to move the boat. So therefore you are optimizing your fuel consumption. Therefore you're not damaging the environment. And so it's definitely not a show.
I really love sailing boat more than the motor boat.
The problem is here in Thailand we don't have the best winds. You're always constantly sailing. That's why maybe in your experience you see them not moving very fast because there's no wind. So obviously yes, we open the mainsail to show it to the people, but yeah, you need the wind.
Not good at how fast. What is the fastest degree for the sailing boat without
The engine.
without the engine of the sailing boat? How fast we can
The
go?
engine of the sailing boat can go to maybe 7 knots, depending on the current. Sailing boat, 7 knots. It depends on the boat. Usually generally 7 knots. But by sailing you can double it. You can double it if you have a strong wind. You can go 14 knots.
I also have the question because I saw there's some kind of the catamaran sail at the Yamu pier. That are the different kind of different from yours. That are and the interior and the thing are so different how.
There is the monohull, so it's one hull, and there's the catamaran, so it's 2 hulls. And trimaran, yeah, well we don't have any. But they all go with sailing. So, and they also have an engine.
No, but that seems to me is that like it seems to me that they're built in Thailand something. I just curious because when I asking people at here, the Yamu here, they say that they can build me a new one.
There is couple shipyards in Thailand who build sailing boats. There is one in Phuket, K.Aye. There is K.Aye, which are very okay boats, nice boats. And I think in K.Aye you have also Bakripono and other brands as well. You have like 2 or 3 brands.
For example, if my friend would like to buy a boat, because I think many people at the moment, many people in Bangkok start thinking that they should own a yacht. Last year they started, oh why not? We should be part of the yacht. We should own the yacht. Like someone might want to own the share of the yacht. The question is it a good investment? And so everyone should buy the whole boat, or they using
come sharing one yacht. What do you think? It's going to be a good investment in buying yacht.
Yeah, I believe buying yacht is definitely a good investment. You should, of course, make sure that you buy a boat which is well built. So you have two types of boats. You have the new generation boat, which are very performance in fiber carbon hull, and you have the whole boats where the hull were made in wood. And then with the time you have always new material that coming in. So it doesn't mean an old boat is not a good boat, but it's just different material that using and a different level of pollution as well. Okay? To make it simple, if you want to invest in a boat, it depends where you want to go, what you want to do with your boat. If you want to go with eco-friendly attitude, or if you want to just look for the performances. To make it simple, there is two type of sailing boat that you can see here in Thailand. You have like multi-hull, catamaran, trimaran, and you have monohull. The main difference between the two boats is with a monohull with only the sail, the wind, you can go with a good skipper faster than the wind itself, okay? Which is not possible with a catamaran. That's why most of the catamaran are using the engine to help, and as a consequence, the catamaran is much more comfortable, but the ecological print is not as good as a monohull. This is something very fundamental in sailing to me, and something that people should know before investing in a boat. But investing in a boat is always a great investment, of course.
Because general public only know the catamaran. They're looking at the Instagram of the actor, and then they saw the picture of people laying at the neck of some like a refugee boat to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
So they come up like 30 people on the refugee boat, and then they take turn taking the picture of the net at the thing.
Yeah, you're right.
That is the perception of the Issabella. You have any objection with my refugee? You know, because that is the, you know, I even have my friend ask me about, my friend start to talk to me, and then she said we should do a business of renting the boat from every one of you, and then do derivative, like we rent it for you for one day, and then we derivative into an hour for people to just take a photo. Because that's what it's just like a boat, like a cruise thing they do in Issabella. They rent it out for an hour for 20,000 baht per hour. So if we doing that, I can rent like a 200,000 baht per day, or like that.
I'm not rejecting, but do you know, I don't want to talk with you. Do you know where the two best days when you are boat over?
Yeah, so when I own it and sell it.
When you buy it and when you sell it.
Yeah, and sell it. It's like a
That's why you should charter it.
It's the same thing when I get married and get divorced. Exactly, so I'm getting married and then divorce. And how do we getting charter in? How do we have any restriction? Because I think for the Sanuk it have the British flag.
Sorry?
British flag. I mean, it's not the Thai flag. On the computer board, we have the British flag. I'm not red and cyan. Yeah, so are we legally charter against you?
You never charter a boat. You know. No, the Sanuk, when you have like foreign flag, the boat cannot be chartered. It's only good for private reason, and that's why we believe it was a good idea to sell the boat in fractional ownership, so that many users can take advantage of the boat.
try to go to kitchen and pick coffee and we can have question of networking. So anyone who can
Yeah, and one speedboat.
And one speedboat. How big is the catamaran?
Catamaran is 40 feet and 42.
42 feet. And how big is the
It's both, they both have 4 double cabins and 4 bathrooms.
Double cabin and four bathrooms.
4 double cabins and 4 bathrooms. So
Why do we need 4 bathrooms when only 2 cabins?
you have 4 cabins,
4 cabins.
4 bathrooms.
So that's a big catamaran.
It's not big, it's smartly built. It's built for charter.
I will tell you what I have been riding on when we have the upbeat excursion, because I think I have not been go through a very good sailing experience with the catamaran, sailing at all.
Anytime, please.
At all.
We'll take care of it.
I went to the Pattaya at the Ocean Marina, Pattaya, and then they went out the catamaran sail for 26,000 baht.
Yeah.
Half day.
That's
And for here it's around that's the Pattaya, Ocean Marina, Pattaya, and the catamaran is like they have a charter.
It depends which island you want to go to. There's so many islands in Phuket. Pattaya, so many.
It's just nice. Not anyone would like to sail in Pattaya. If they will want to sail in Pattaya, if they just want to take a photo, a picture.
Yeah.
I think most of Thai people in Thai, not the real fan of the sailing. They're not real fan. They just want to take photo. And they just want to go and take photo. And then can you share more about your speedboat? What it look like a speedboat? That I don't know.
No, it's a
like a tiger.
No.
Like a tiger lily.
Tiger lily, very similar, yes. It's bigger, older, but very similar to tiger lily, yes. Same concept, very fast. You can do 10 islands in one day. So for the tourists that come, they have short time. I want to see as many islands as possible. With this boat, you can. With the catamaran, it's more about the journey. So the catamaran is the journey. The speedboat is A to B.
How fast can the speedboat go?
The speedboat can go up to 40-50 knots, but we don't do that with the clients. We cruising speed, which is around 20-25 knots.
That's very fast.
If you go very fast, your face is like...
You can go into the cabin.
You get
We go to the cabin.
No, but you want to stay outside and enjoy the wind, the breath, the sea, right? The sun.
And you also charter out your speedboat.
Yeah. Not much now. It's very, even long tail boat. Even long tail boat.
You have long tail boat?
Yeah.
Long tail boat? What type of long tail boat I want to see? Thai long tail boat? Issabella yacht? Issabella yacht? You have that? At the moment you want to go to catch the jellyfish.
Yes.
Jellyfish catching and you also doing spit.
Okay.
You doing spit?
Yeah.
I mean, the
We fish, yeah. They come to the light, they come to the light. You put the light on the boat, they come and you fish them.
I just that's surprised because we have the fishing boat at Chalong Beach. They charge us for 10,000 baht.
We do fishing as an extra. So we enjoy the boat, we enjoy the island, and then we fish. So it's part of the
Then I have last question for the Issabella yacht. The last question is about the big yacht that you have. How do you call it? Because that the yacht is very famous on Instagram. Everyone calls it Deal yacht because it posts on the Instagram of the actress Deal. Right to Deal. Deal, you know Deal, right? Deal.
Eat.
You know Deal. Actress called Deal. You know Deal.
Thai actress.
Okay. And so,
Arisala ค่ะ
how to write on your board?
Is it?
Betini
Anyway, I will show which one that we talking about, the one that look like a fish. The one that look like a fish. How do you call it? The one that look like a fish. The one that designed by the British architect. That one also running by your yacht.
No, in Chalong.
I'm not sure. I need to clarify which yacht belong to which charter. Which yacht belong to which charter because it's very in my honor. So many yachts that we have riding on. Okay, so we will try to finish this one in 10 minutes. So let's open up theคุณโรเบิร์ตสวัสดีครับ I tried because I saw you small plane coming out from that airport. It should be a private airport.
Exactly, it is a private airport.
Can you share me more about that? How can I read it about to get onto the plane? It is dangerous.
No, absolutely not. Flying by statistics is the most secure method of traveling. By statistics, exactly.
I heard, I mean, we have been, I have talked to my friend who are producer, we have been talking about John Denver, that even famous John Denver dying at the age of 30 something.
Yes.
So I'm curious that if I ride on the small then I become, so how tell me, can you share me?
Well, the first thing is try it first. Then you will know by experience. And I assure you that it is the most safest way of transport.
What kind of the ride that you operate? What kind of program that you operate? Can you tell me? Can you tell everybody about your business?
Okay. Yeah. The business of the property is we started it 15 years ago. We want to do an air park, which means it has a strip of a runway, and we want environmentally like you, and grass. And next to the runway, we subdivide for building lots. But later on, we shelved the idea. And now our company, we are selling the property. So,
you're selling the runway?
Yes, the whole property. So now my business is selling a property.
Why do you want to sell property?
Okay.
คุณปีเตอร์ do you want to buy the airport?
Yeah, I think it started from about flying, but when you ask me about my property and my plans and my business right now is like many others real estate. So we want to sell a property, which is 124 ride, each ride is 5 million baht.
And do we, if we have the runway, do we need to have any kind of license?
We have the license as an private airport. And the airport can be upgraded to be private, to be commercial, or any other ways you want to. But it's the license is normally for private owners.
Can we increase the length? I mean, how long is your runway? How long?
Our runway is 500 meters, so it is good for small planes.
And can we extend the runway?
Yes, by buying more property. Yes, exactly. So this is exactly like if you have a marina and you want a bigger yacht to come in, then you say, how can you? Well, just extend the property, the retaining wall, and so on.
Can you airport landing the MJet, the kind of temperature?
Yes, yes.
You can landing?
Yes. Yes, we have pictures of that kind of plane landing. Yeah.
Very interesting. So next time, I think why don't we landing here? If we did go to our property, I mean our place, I mean, go to here. Landing.
Yes. Well, why don't you come for a visit? So it is, in Thai we say, the first, you come and have a look, and the next thing is you touch it, and after you touch it, you hug it, then you know how it is.
Okay, then last question. How much that is cost for me to, or two passengers to go on trip on the plane, on the private plane?
Okay, one person will be, trip around the island will be like 3,500 baht for 30 minutes.
One person?
No, one person, because our plane is 2 person. If you want to, then we have a 4-seater plane. That will be around the island will be 6,500 baht.
Okay, so it's very interesting to ride on. Have you ride on the plane?
Try, please.
I also would like to try. Do I need to have to buy more insurance to go buy life insurance?
Up to you. We have insurance for the plane. Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so thank you for thank you. And Peter, I think we should.
Thank you.
Can you come?
I agree.
We would like to stop the camera.
สวัสดีครับ
We would like to stop the camera now, and then we can have everybody have just the networking.
Is there a reason why I had to come back specially to say goodbye to the camera?
You come. That's why I invite you to come to say goodbye to the camera. Do you have anything to add? So what are the next topics that you want to talk about?
Oh, you've now caught me on the spot, haven't you? It's sort of education in Phuket. That'll be the next subject for me.
Education is a very challenging topic because I used to have that session before, and then if you become 10,000 day fighting.
It's a very interesting discussion that can be had between the Thai schools that are here and the Thai English schools and the international schools. It's an interesting topic that could cover all sorts of things that affected lifestyle here, but also the future.
Yeah, I don't want to start that thing now, but if we start, then it will go on and on about this thing. So thank you very much for anyone who watching this video, and thank you for the guest because it's very knowledgeable every time that I have someone to come, and I learn something every time. ขอบคุณครับ ขอบคุณครับคุณ